Every time a new 4Runner comes out, a lot of people just hate it. They say it's not as good as the old one. They say that the old one was much more engaging, much more fun, much more long-lasting. Well, today, guys, we've got the new one, and Andre, we've got the old one.
Yes, we have the previous generation, 5th gen, versus 6th generation 4Runner.
So in this video, we're going to do a side-by-side comparison between the old and the new. But I think we should start with the old, Andre. Wouldn't you agree?
I think it's oldie and goodie, right?
Yeah.
That's what people say, and that's what I say also.
Now, this isn't an apples-to-apples comparison because the new one is stock, the old one has been upgraded, but still, you get a good idea of what Toyota has done from the old to the new.
Yeah, so this is a 2020 4Runner that belongs to our marketing director, Grant. So this is his personal vehicle that he drives almost every day. Yes, it's lifted a little bit with some off-road protection, but this is an SR5, which is kind of a base model in the 4Runner model trim line.
Yeah, so let's start where we always start, and that is with styling. Now, I always kind of felt like the previous generation 4Runner looked like an angry bird, right? It has these big eyes, it has this big open maw.
Yeah.
And the new one, well, that's a little bit toned down. Smaller lights, square, little.
I'm still getting used to the new one. So in this area, it looks a lot like the new Tacoma, right?
Yes,
because of course, 4Runner and Tacoma share a lot of the underpinnings. This line right here kind of matches the old one almost. But I think, I don't know, maybe I'm not used to the new one, but I like the old one a little bit more.
The problem with the old one was that this was a lot of busyness right there, a lot of intersecting lines going a lot of different ways. And if you wanted to do something like add a bumper,
yes,
it was not easy to match the lines of the bumper to all the complications going on here. And I think with this one, if you're in the aftermarket and you want to upgrade it, it'll be a little bit easier. It's much more linear versus kind of horizontal and vertical.
But what's up with that chin, Roman? You have a chin spoiler over there.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later in the video when we talk about fuel economy.
Okay.
Now, this one, of course, has been lifted, Andre.
Yeah.
But let me open the hood and let's talk about the biggest change, and that is the fact that we've gone from a 6-cylinder to a 4-cylinder turbo.
Yeah, and this is what traditionalists may be kind of unhappy about with the new one. But the older one was really kind of long in the tooth, but also very reliable and very, very solid.
It's 15 years old now.
Yes,
15.
it is.
That's a long, long tooth, Andre.
It's a 4-liter V6, no turbochargers here. It's backed up by a 5-speed automatic, Roman.
Ah!
Not a 6-speed, not an 8-speed, not a 10, a 5-speed automatic. 270 horsepower, 278 pound-feet of torque.
I got a secret, Andre.
What?
I had a 5-speed when I was in high school. And that
was it the manual?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that was, you know, like 1,500 years ago.
When the dinosaurs roamed?
The biggest issue I always had with this was the 5-speed. I just felt like it was, you know, something that did not make the best use of the torque or of the horsepower of this powertrain.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. We'll give it a quick drive, right?
Yeah, of course.
And we'll see. But we also have to check out the technology and also the just comfort on the inside.
I want you to get behind the wheel, I'll get in the passenger.
Okay.
And let's show them the inside of the old one, and then you'll be able to do a comparison to the new one, Andre.
Yes.
So, of course, when I say old one, this is a refresh. This is different than the 5th generation from back in
2009?
Yeah. So
yeah, so they updated it a couple times.
They did, yeah.
Yeah, so they didn't just leave it alone for the entire 15-year run. They updated it. I still have a key. This is an SR5. Once again, this is not a luxurious model. I have a key. I have to start the engine this way.
But the one thing I always like about Toyotas, especially this generation, is they had big knobs and real switches. And now that we live in a world of screens and touch screens, I miss the fact that there are these big tactile knobs.
You will never miss this button.
No.
It's about the size, I don't know, like a Mandarin.
Yes,
It's
a
huge.
Mandarin.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, that is a weird comparison, Andre, but I'll go with it.
What would you say it's like?
I don't know, but let's talk about the screen. I did not
Tiny.
love this previous generation infotainment. I thought it was, you know, like somebody built a TomTom back in 2010 and then Toyota stuck their infotainment on top of that. And while it does work, it does not work very well.
So I just paired my phone to this.
Yeah.
Sorry, Grant. But there's no Apple CarPlay. It didn't show up. So I could listen to my podcasts, I could make phone calls, but I cannot use a lot of other Apple features.
Now this one does have 4 high, 4 low, and
two-wheel drive.
and 2-wheel drive. Because it's H2, H4, and L4.
Yes.
I think Toyota has changed that since this
So
generation.
high 2,
Yeah.
high 4, and L4. Exactly. So two-wheel drive is available. We're currently in two-wheel drive. We also have A-Track, which is basically an off-road based traction control system. And that's what they used to do. They put several off-road features here into the ceiling of the car.
I do like the fact that I'm actually missing them now, real gauges instead of digital gauges. Now digital gauges allow you to do a lot more in terms of configuration, but I love the fact that you have real dials. There's something so pleasing about having real dials that move up and down. Very mechanical.
Yeah, and Grant's been taking really good care of this. I mean, it's pretty nice and clean, all stock on the inside.
What do you think of the steering wheel? Do you like it?
Great. I have cruise control. You know, I have sometimes issues with that. Cruise control is here. There's a little distance you can control. So that's kind of the newest technology entering the 5th gen.
And what about the seats? You like the seats? They're very firm.
Yeah, they're kind of firmish.
Yeah, they're kind of firm. I do like the fact that we have handholds here.
Yes.
And interestingly, we don't have dual climate control or dual climate zones. And keep that in mind when we jump to the new one, because that one is substantially more expensive. And yet, well, I'll get to that when we get to that one. The other thing I think that I like about this is that it's very linear, at least here in the passenger compartment. So very straightforward. Everything is kind of horizontal, easy to figure out. Places where you put your elbows are soft, which is very nice.
Pretty nice.
And it feels like the new one, and we'll show you that in a second, even though that is a $57,000 truck, has kind of gone a little cheaper in some ways.
Yeah, and I like the truckiness of this.
Yeah.
Right? It's a body on frame, 4-wheel drive SUV, and it has like truck-like styling. But you know what else it has? Has the rear window that slides.
That's nice.
And we have to check out the rear seat.
Let's check out the rear seat. Yeah, let's see how you fit. Now, keep in mind, you're tall, 6'3".
Yep.
Let's see how you do, dude. Jump in there. That's one of the other big changes. The new one is actually longer.
Yeah, so the wheelbase on this guy is about 109.8 inches, and the new one is about almost 3 inches longer wheelbase. But look, I'm sitting behind myself relatively comfortably. Yes, I could push the seat backward a little bit, and my head doesn't quite touch. You know, it's okay. It's okay, actually.
Yeah, and for somebody who is very tall, that is surprisingly good. Let's see how much room is back here. Oh, you opened the window. Hey,
Sorry.
Andre, look at that.
Look at the Roman.
Yeah. Do those seats recline?
I don't know. Let me check. I don't think so.
Well, you found a difference already.
Oh, wait. Ha-ha.
Oh, they do recline.
Aha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Toyota says that they've put about 2 inches of legroom in the back seat on the new one. And we'll find that out the second we jump in the back seat.
And also hitch 5,000 towing. The towing number is about 5,000. And the payload number I just checked is about 1,100 pounds on this 4Runner. But look, very spacious, very large area here in the back as well.
Yeah, this is great for big dogs.
Yes.
Which you know I have an affinity for, Andre.
Exactly. Blaze is pretty big.
Blaze would love it if it wasn't lifted. All right, let's go for a ride.
Okay.
Let's see how it drives. Now, I have to admit, Andre, I'm a big fan of turbochargers.
Yes.
Because up here at elevation, they really do help in terms of, you know, keeping the horsepower in the stable as opposed to letting it go flittering off down.
That's true. I agree. But here's the thing. Well, the character of this engine, right? It's a V6, but it's fairly large displacement, 4 liters. And you do have to rev it higher to get maximum torque out of it. So that may not be ideal for most drivers, but let's see how it goes. Did you lock the other one?
I did, because there's people doing strange things in this park sometimes.
Yes.
We'll leave that to your imaginations.
You don't know.
I don't know. And then, look, people say that they hate turbos, that they don't trust turbos.
Yes.
They don't like the fact that we've gone from 6 cylinders to 4 cylinders. But the fact is, we'll talk about this in a second. The new one has more horsepower and better fuel economy.
And much more torque.
And much
a
more
lot
torque.
more torque.
So
yes.
this one, EPA rates at 18 combined.
Yeah, it depends on the year. This is not great on ratings for efficiency, right? Sometimes it's 17 combined, sometimes it's 18, like you said. So getting over 20 mpg in the older 4Runner is a feat. You know, you can do it once in a while, but it's rare.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of great things you can say about the first 5 generations of 4Runner. But the one thing you can say is fuel economy. They've all been kind of really bad at it. We've owned a bunch of them now.
Yeah.
So if this is a vehicle that you're daily commuting to work and your commute is a long way off, you're going to pay for it at the pump.
And they've always been truckish, which is kind of a good thing.
Yeah.
But trucks are not known for efficiency, right?
No, they're known for toughness, reliability,
off-roadability. Yes.
Ease of use. And this does have a really nice ease of use character to it. It just feels kind of like an old friend, an old dog. You know what I mean? You just get in here and everything all of a sudden makes sense. The new world is confusing and too much technology, and this is just nice and simple and honest.
And you know, we have a video series about upgrading the suspension on this.
Yes.
So you guys can check it out at oldtfl.com or tflcar.com. But I think it's well sorted. I mean, I think Grant did a good job with this particular one.
Yeah, it's only got 51,000 miles, so
yeah.
It's still a spring chicken in Toyota 4Runner terms.
Let me stop and accelerate here.
Okay, see how it does.
On the back stretch here.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
It needs to build up steam.
There we go.
See, now.
That torque hits like at 4,000 RPM.
Yeah, so now we're moving.
Now we're moving, but it took a while.
Yeah.
I think that every generation of 4Runner gets painted with the same brush. The previous one was so much better. And then 15 years later, it happens again. So let's find out if that's the case with the 6th generation.
All right, let's take a look. And this video is made possible by our friends at 4runner6g.com forums. This is the best community and place to hang out for the 6th generation brand new 4Runner. That's where we go for all the latest news. Maybe you're looking to buy a new 4Runner, or maybe you already own one, and you could look at modifications, what other people are doing. It's a vibrant community. Get the latest news right there, 4runner6g.com. That's where we go.
I think you meant Mandarin orange, right?
Yeah, the size of that button.
Here, let me show you what it's like.
What?
Come here, Mary. Show him the microphone. That, like a wireless mic would be a good comparison. Don't you think?
I think Mandarin, I love Mandarin oranges, cuties. I eat them all the time.
All right, well, welcome to the TFL food as we move on to the new generation of 4Runner. Let's pop the hood, Andre, and talk about the big difference.
Yeah, so when you pop this hood, by the way, it's pretty hefty.
Oh, it's very hefty. And, you know, car manufacturers have gotten away from actually putting nice little covers. And when the covers first came on, I was all grumpy about them because they made the engine, which I thought was beautiful, hidden. And now I see why they hid it, because it looks like a rat's nest in there.
Yeah, lots of wires, lots of tubes, lots of pipes. But this is a 2.4 liter straight 4. You can kind of see the orientation of the engine right here. And it's turbocharged. I think you could see it down here, a little bit down here. 278 horsepower, so about 8 horsepower more than the old one. That doesn't sound like much, but 317 pound-feet of torque at a very low RPM. So all that torque should hit very early, and an 8-speed automatic.
Yeah, so much more modern transmission, much more modern powertrain. And look, when I was a kid, high school, turbos were just coming in, like the Saab 900 turbo, right? And there was a whole bunch of turbo lag, but modern turbos aren't like that anymore, right? You had to let them cool off back in the day, and so people still think of turbos as being unreliable and having a huge ton of turbo lag. New turbos aren't like that, so no. For all of you guys out there who are like, you'll take that straight 6, you'll take that V6 out of my cold dead hands, just give it a drive.
And also, this engine was meant to have a turbocharger from the very beginning, right? It wasn't like they took a 4-cylinder and then they slapped a turbocharger on it.
Look, I would love to have a V8 under there like the old generation.
Okay.
But I just don't think we're living in the right time for that. Whoa,
right.
Almost knocked off the front end. All right, let's jump inside.
Can you pop it?
I will pop it. There you go.
Wow. So this is not an SR5. This is an off-road edition of the 4Runner, and it's also premium edition.
Yeah, and it's gotten
Of the
very
4Runner.
expensive. This one was 57 MSRP, which seems to me to be about, once again, 10K too much. Especially when you look at things like the fact, look at that. That is a hard plastic.
Hard plastic here.
57,000, not dual zone climate control. What's up with that, Andre, huh?
But ventilated and heated seats.
Yes, and a heated steering wheel. And of course, you've got this big screen, which looks a little bit like a giant iPad that somebody glued to the...
How about it's your living room and you're watching your big television here?
True that, because you're so close to it. Look, we got a red
Yes.
power switch.
TRD button.
And then we have digital displays. And here's my question for you, Andre.
What?
So a lot of the safety stuff like blind side monitoring, autonomous braking, it's all hidden in submenus in this dashboard. Why don't they put it there?
That's a good question, because look, you click a vehicle symbol and a lot of it is empty, right?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, there's a graph of efficiency, but why don't they put more settings right there?
Yeah, it'd be so much easier. And then here's the other problem. Look, you've got not one way, not two ways, but you got four ways that you can move this. So you can go up, down, left, right, in, out. It's just way too complicated. And I really have a hard time configuring the Toyota dashboard. And that includes the Tacoma that we also had. Same problem. Here we have a sunroof. I like the fact actually that it's not huge, that it's just a really traditional sunroof. I'm kind of starting to like that a lot. I still have the big switches, big
knobs,
big
yeah.
knob, but you can get a 4Runner with a small knob. We didn't, luckily.
But this is a small mandarin orange, I think.
Okay, that's a
Do you
small.
see that's smaller? Smaller.
And then the other weird thing about this guy is that we have drive modes, and then we have off-road drive modes.
And we have rear locking differential.
Of course.
Yes, and actually, so no, not like A-track system, but actually different MTS, multi-terrain select, and crawl control as well.
What do you think of the seats?
A little bit better.
Yeah, I think
so.
so.
Yeah.
Plus, we have leather, I think, in this one,
Yeah.
which a little bit better than cloth.
Has a weird handhold here.
I don't like that handle.
Yeah.
I like the old one better. And then we, of course, have the ubiquitous
JBL speaker.
Bluetooth. I'm not sure
That is cool.
that's more marketing than
No,
usefulness.
but going camping, you could take it outside and play some music.
All right, let's check the back seat out.
Okay.
All right, you get in the back behind me again.
Okay.
Now, I sit pretty far back, so keep that in mind, guys and gals.
Whoa. Why does it feel like I have less space? Maybe because these seats are larger.
I don't know.
Okay, stop. Yeah, that's okay.
I think it might have something to do with the fact that I sit pretty far back because I've got long legs and a short torso.
You know what? I mean, my head just barely touches.
It feels like there's less room, doesn't it?
Almost less room. I don't know how they made the wheelbase longer, the cabin here a little bit bigger, but it feels like it's less space.
They said they put it into the rear seat, but we're not seeing that, Andre.
Well, let's take a look at the back.
Maybe they put it in the back here. Hey, while you're up there, why don't you take a look at the payload, would you?
Yeah.
So, the ironic thing about the 4Runner is that you can get one with rear seats, and you know that because back here we have cup holders. This one doesn't have the rear seats, so I think this does look a little bit more cavernous, like we do have more room back here, which is nice. What do you think? I think there's more room back here.
Yeah, it also looks huge.
Yeah, it just looks
and still the 400 watts is available. There's an outlet right there. And the payload is about 900 pounds, Roman. So the old one had more payload.
Yeah, now keep in mind, if you get the hybrid, you're going to lose about 4 inches of space right there.
Yeah, so the battery space is in the trunk here. In the hybrid version, you get more power and torque, of course, but not a lot more efficiency in the hybrid.
How about payload? The old one was 1,100. How much is this one?
900.
Ooh, that's without the hybrid.
Yes.
How do you get less payload?
I don't know, but towing is 6,000 now.
So you get 1,000, but then you're going to run out of tongue
Why
weight.
is it unhappy?
I was hit the wrong. I tried to lock it, but you're going to run out of tongue weight.
You are.
Yeah.
Can I lower this glass? Let me see.
You love lowering the glass, don't you, Andre?
Yes.
There it goes. Look at that.
Yes.
They still kept that. Nice. All right, let's take it for a ride.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give it some beans.
We'll give it some beans. Please. Lock grants.
I got it locked.
All right, I have to move the seat back. I do love this big old chunky shifter. I think that's great, and it does drive really well. I have to admit.
It's well sorted.
It's really well sorted.
The suspension is really amazing.
Yeah. It feels like they've done a great job in sorting out the suspension.
Here's the efficiency in 19 city, 25 highway, 21 combined. So it's really between 4 and or so mpg better than the old one, at least by rating.
Which, for something that's been around for 15 years, you figure they would have, upped it by
Blew past it, right?
Yeah, and then if you get the hybrid, you're not going to be in the 30s. In fact, you won't even be in the mid-20s. You're going to get a few more mpg because in their truck world, Toyota uses hybrid to give you more power.
Yeah, and the way it works really for Toyota truck hybrids is you get better city efficiency, right? So the city number will go up.
But this is the big difference. You get all your torque down low. So I just floored it. There we go.
And it's pretty linear too.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
Yeah. So the old one, nothing, a lot of power.
Yeah.
This one, medium power.
Yeah.
So it depends.
It's much more linear. It accelerates really well.
I could see this being a daily driver, and even though we're going over these bumps, I wish it was a little softer, but this is the off-road version, but it does feel well controlled, right? It feels like it's made like out of one giant piece of Toyota metal versus a whole bunch of different pieces that rattle and shake. So there are no squeaks. Toyota's, at least, I would say, their reputation for reliability is, as far as I know, in the 4Runner intact, but we'll have to wait and see.
Exactly, and I agree with you. You know how older and current Land Cruisers feel?
Yeah.
Just feel really solid. I'm getting a similar perception here in the 4Runner. It just feels a little bit more solid
Now, I
than
just
some
drove
others.
the latest Lexus LS.
Uh-huh.
LS, right? Yeah. The big 600.
LX?
Yeah, LX.
700H over trail?
Yeah, I just drove that. Now that feels like it's one giant brick of
Diamonds.
no cement. It's like old Mercedes. It's,
really solid.
Yeah, really. But of course, that's over $100,000. So that would make a lot of sense.
You could buy two of these for one price of that LX 700H.
Yeah. By the way, now that we're talking about it, so I'm sorry I screwed up the LS, but Toyota, just for fudge's sake, RX, LC, LX, LS, it's just too much. It's hard to keep them all straight. And GX, TX.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lexus Texas.
Yes, too many of them. So, the question that I've been asking myself this entire video is this worth the price of entry? In other words, if I had a 5th gen, would I want to spend the money to get a 6th gen? And that's really, I think, the question that a lot of people out there are asking themselves in this old versus new comparison. So let me get your answer before I tell you mine.
Okay. This is a tough one because I've been really liking 4Runners over the last, 30 years, all of them. But I think the answer is no. I'm still tempted to stay with the old one.
Really?
Just the efficiency gains in the new one are not insanely huge. I'm more comfortable sitting in this one in the back seat. I'm not gonna tow with my 4Runner, but this has more payload. I'm kind of liking the old one.
If this were an SR5, the price difference between that one and this one, if that were a new one, wouldn't be that much.
No.
The problem is once you start getting up into the higher and more expensive 4Runners, the delta between the old and the new gets much higher, up to about $8,000 to $10,000.
Yeah, like the new TRD Pro, the new Trail Hunter, right? All those ones.
Yeah, I'm still gonna go with the new one, Andre. I'm a sucker for new, and I know it's very expensive, but the great news is whether you get the old one or the new one, 4Runners retain their value.
Yeah.
Like nothing else besides maybe a Tacoma or a Wrangler.
Or maybe gold.
Maybe gold.
You can invest into gold, or you can invest in an older 4Runner.
So even though this one costs more, the residual value of it is going to be high. So you know in 10 years you'll be able to get the money back out of it. So I don't think you're going to, hurt yourself by getting the new one versus the old one. And if you want better fuel economy, and if you want, a better, I think, driving experience, get the new one.
There you have it. Let us know what you think as well.
As always, this is Roman
And Andre,
saying we'll see you guys next time. Remember, what forum should they go to?
4runner6g.com for the new 4Runners.
Ciao.